Welcome to Zero Booze Lovely Views, where I'm learning to swap hangovers for horizons. Today I will be travelling to Camden in London, where I will be walking around the market and then taking a stroll along the Canal to Primrose Hill, where we will stop and have some food at the lovely Albert pub, and then coming back into Camden and checking out the Stables market. One of the main motivations to come today was to show my daughter where I used to hang out when I was in my 20s and I lived in London. This was around the time when Amy Winehouse was still kicking about Camden, and you'd see her regularly, and she wasn't globally famous but still recognisable. You'd see loads of famous people in Camden, and I used to love going to the Underworld, the Barfly and the Dublin Castle, and go to all the indie discos, which is now known as indie sleaze. I think the last time I was in Camden was about 10 years ago, when I went to see the band Ride, play a gig in one of the venues, and I can't even remember which one it was. So it's been quite a while since I was last here, and the first thing I noticed was how mega busy it was. It kind of reminded me of how busy Oxford Street used to get when the Topshop flagship store was there back in the day. The area around Camden Lock had loads of food stalls, and lots of people seemed to be trying all the street food, and there was lots of people just sort of buzzing around that area. But after a while I found it quite claustrophobic, and it was kind of giving me a bit of anxiety, and I just wanted to get out of the area. So I suggested having a walk along the canal and head towards Primrose Hill, because I know there's lots of nice pubs there. And we did try and sit in the Camden Brewery, but it was just so busy. So it was actually quite refreshing to get out of the busyness, because it just was really overwhelming. I don't know if it's just a time of year, because it's just after the new year right now, or if it's just always like that nowadays. I'm not too sure. I noticed there wasn't as many alternative people as there used to be. It seemed a lot more touristy, and it just sort of seemed like a kind of knockoff version, a counterfeit version of what it used to be. It felt like the punkiness wasn't as authentic as it used to be, and it just seemed a bit gimmicky now. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of get out of there and just seek some tranquility in a nice area, Primrose Hill, which is really pretty actually, and not too far to walk from Camden Market. You only have to walk about 10 minutes, and then you just hang a right and just walk up the side until you get to a beautiful church. Then you know you're in the right area. At this point, you just want to cross the road and walk straight ahead, and you should be able to see the Albert pub standing out in the distance. It's a really nice pub actually, and there always seems to be some spaces even at lunchtime at the weekends, so it was a really good shout to go there and just get some chips and to sample a non-alcoholic beer that they had. I sampled a Rothaus Pills, which was really nice. I really enjoyed it. I only had half a pint, but it was really refreshing and tasty, and yeah, really enjoyable. It was like perfect to have with a bowl of chips and just to have a bit of an unwind before heading back into Camden and hitting the Stables, which is always notoriously busy. So yeah, it's just nice to have a bit of a pit stop. And I noticed this amazing picture of Uncle Albert from Only Fools and Horses, which I used to enjoy a lot when I was a kid, and it feels really sort of London centric. So when we finished our drinks, we decided to walk back along the canal. It's the Regent towpath, and you can pass this amazing Chinese restaurant along which faces out to the canal. I've never actually been, but I'd love to try it. So yeah, we just headed back and just got to the part of the lock where there's a bridge, and it was quite chilled out around here. It wasn't as busy, and it's quite nice to just watch the canal boats go past. And what I really liked is they had all those locks where people put them and I guess celebrate their relationships and love for each other, and then go back and visit it years later. It's really nice to see. So yeah, I had a little look at that and a little mooch about. There's a Wetherspoons this side of the canal as well, which I think is pretty good if you wanted to sit down and get a table to just have some food seated. But yeah, as I noticed loads of people just enjoying the street food, but I just needed to have a breather. I just don't know if I can take the crowds as well as I used to. I just get so panicked by it. At this point, I went and showed my daughter the Dublin Castle, because I used to love this a lot when I was in my 20s. On my walk today, I decided to take along the Beavertown IPA. I've had this before actually, and it reminds me a lot of the Big Drop Paradiso IPA. It's really nice. I'm not a mega fan of IPAs in general. I do find them a bit, if they're overly citrusy, I'm not really a fan. I much prefer just like plain lagers, but this one is one of my favourites. I really enjoyed this. I think Beavertown were like really mega cool like about 10 years ago. I remember seeing their glasses everywhere, but yeah, I never really drunk them before because I was into my wine and stuff. So, but no, I really like this, and this is one of my favourites actually. I really like it a lot. It went down really easily as I was walking through the markets. How pretty was the can? Well, I really like this branding. It's really hard not to like it because it's just so different from anything else you see. It's just got its own quirky style. It wouldn't look out of place on a 1970s album cover. It's quite psychedelic, quite surreal. And I really appreciate it. It's just so different from anything else out there. So yeah, I give this one top marks for branding. It's just quirky and cool, and yeah, it's been around for a while, but it still looks really fresh. So we just had a bit of a mooch around the stables part of Camden. Some of it I just couldn't face walking down because it was just so busy, especially like the Instagrammable bits, like the hanging umbrellas section. I just didn't have it in me at all. I was getting a bit tired at this point and sort of had my fill a little bit of Camden. I did love this. They're called junk cases, where you can do a pick and mix and pick all these trinkets. So I decided to do that and create my own phone case, which was a bit of fun. On the way back, we decided to go to the Pop Mart store. We actually had to queue up outside, so it was kind of like one in, one out. It was like being in an exclusive nightclub or something. But my daughter's really into this kind of blind box craze that they have at the moment. What I love about Pop Mart is it's really good value. You could kind of get the counterfeit stuff at the same price as what the real McCoy is. They haven't sort of upped their prices since their popularity. I really like the Molly dolls, as they look like my daughter, but it was really fun to go and have a mooch around there as well. Yeah, so all in all, I found Camden a little bit disappointing. It's definitely, for me, lost its charm. It's not very authentic rock and roll, punk rock, alternative as it was 20 years ago when I used to hang around there and live in London and have nights out in Camden. For me, it just seemed a bit... just sort of like it was a theme park almost, and it was very aimed towards the tourists. There was hardly any vintage shops left anymore, so I think I feel like I've had my fill of Camden, and I wouldn't be in a rush to go back there again, to be honest. But I know other people really like it. Here are my final ratings for Beavertown. I think it's a really nice IPA. It's really non-offensive, really fun, really easy to drink, really gluggable, easy to take on a walk, and yeah, it's one of my favourites, I think. And 0.4 is not too bad, so yeah, top marks for Beavertown. If you've got any recommendations on other beers, lagers, ales, IPAs that I could try, I'd really appreciate that, or any comments. But yeah, please do like and subscribe, just so that I have a bit more confidence to continue making these. Thank you. Bye. Thanks for watching.